Hi, everyone. This is
Welcome.
not Sports Center. This is Rental Income Properties 101. That property, 1520 Westmoreland, is one of our new listings. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. But this episode, this piece is not about that. It is about the rental income properties.
And we will take you all the way.
So let's just jump into it. All right.
As a sports center, I had to throw that in there a little bit. We know there's no sports on right now, and we do feel the pain for everybody, and we're thankful for your time today.
Exactly. So you already own a home, and now you know what it entails and the process to get here. So if you're looking to buy your first property, this piece is not for you. This is for someone that owns a property and looking to dive deeper into the second property and look at investments. David, you want to jump in these?
Yeah, let me jump in here. So you already bought your first home. You already own it. Now you're thinking about how do I diversify to make myself build wealth for long term, and what's a safe investment. You may be invested in the stock market, but real estate is a financially great opportunity for you. So you look at it. Is your job and your income steady each month? You already got your retirement plan and some savings. Your house is currently appreciating, but these alone is not going to create wealth for you. So that's why investing in real estate and diversifying makes such a good investment opportunity, along with tax benefits.
So how do investment properties build wealth? Monthly cash flow. Rental properties can create monthly cash flow. Rental properties have the ability to increase cash flow by rent increases. Average San Diego rent $1,852 to $2,750. Average yearly San Diego rent increase 4.1. A platform that you want to look at if you're really curious about the different rents in San Diego County is a platform called Rentometer. It's a platform that I use a lot. You throw it in there. I think it pulls its numbers based off of like Craigslist and some other platforms, but at least gives you a rough idea of what properties are renting for in your hyper-focused area, community. So yeah, feel free to take a look at that. Do you want to take a look at the next one, David?
Yeah. So how do investment properties also build wealth? Well, there's future appreciation. That's always key. You know, San Diego appreciates typically 5.5% yearly. Now, yes, we're in a pandemic. Yes, is that always the same? No, that's a historical average. So even if you look at it and go, it goes up 2%. Well, if you bought a $500,000 home and it went up 2%, you still made $10,000 per year. So even taking it at a lower amount shows that appreciation builds wealth. And then it's like in San Diego, it's hard to find places that basically are going to have lower rent each month. And every time your renter pays you, it pays down your principal, which also builds your appreciation.
Tax write-offs. So yes, okay, going back to the appreciation avenue, the monthly cash flow avenue, buying a property, I mean today, if 10 years, 5 years, even in the future, rents are always going to slowly increase. Yes, the property value might go down, yet the rent increase usually will go up. So that's something really to focus on. And it really doesn't matter what the property cost you or what it can actually sell for, unless you're willing to sell it, or if you're looking to refi it. So getting to the tax write-offs. So rental properties are tax deductible. Improvements to properties can be written off. You can depreciate the property for more write-offs. Tax insurance, mortgage insurance, all write-offs. Now, everything we're talking about with regards to taxes, please talk to your CPA. We're giving you, there are going to be stipulations to it. Everyone is a little bit different, but I just want to throw that out there. Everyone's a little bit different. So please talk to your CPA if you have particular questions about the tax benefits for buying an investment property. And then maintenance, again, a tax write-off.
And improvements. Any improvements you do to that property, you can write off. Unlike on your current home, you cannot improve it and write off that. When you improve a rental property, you can write that off. It's tax deductible. That's huge.
So how do you get started? Yes, you need money if you're looking to purchase another property. There are a lot more loan programs out there if you're buying a property for your primary residence. They're going to be a little bit easier to purchase, get on an investment property. The rules change a little bit. So first one, you can pull money out of your current home, a cash out refi. Rates are really good right now. So let's say hypothetically you have in the high fours and you haven't refinanced your property yet, taking advantage of these low rates. Might be a good time to refinance, take some money out of the property, while also reducing, in some cases, reducing your monthly payment, or having just a small hike in your monthly payment compared to having the higher interest rate.
The other thing also is a lot of you, even if you have an interest rate of 3.875, you can still refinance right now and dramatically cut your payments, and it dramatically cuts down the interest expense you pay for the home long term, which is also where you build long-term wealth. So that's something to think about as well. We're in historically the best time for interest rates that we've ever had.
Yeah, and especially if you maybe it's something you bought 10 years ago and you never took out that mortgage insurance, or you bought where it was, and your equity has gone up. So we really dive deeper. If you bought a long time ago, or if your rates are fairly high, it could be beneficial for you to refinance and take money out. So the next part to get the money, you can pull from investment accounts or bank savings. IRA, real estate investment accounts.
Ooh, that's a technical one. Talk to your CPA about that. But it is a very interesting avenue that most people never even dive into.
And on a side note, if you're watching right now, if you have any questions about what we're talking about, feel free to comment in the comment section, and we can dive deeper into those. Pull money with other investors to leverage. Now, if you're going to go this route, make sure you have some kind of agreement put in place between different parties. You'll be surprised what money can do to people.
Oh, yeah, and make sure you go on title.
Yes. HELOC on current home if you have an amazing loan already, and David can talk to you about that if you're looking at that option. Do you want to actually walk through what a HELOC is?
A HELOC. So the HELOC is a second mortgage, and basically it's more expensive than the first. But if you were smart enough to refinance your house already, you already have an amazing loan, then sometimes the HELOC is a great investment depending on how you're going to use the money, because they are readily available. They only count when you pull the money out. So you could, example, get a HELOC for $100,000, but if you only need 50, you only pull 50K out and use it towards your investment. It all comes back to some of the formulas me and Vinnie will go over later to make sure that your formulas and percentages and what you're using make sense for your long-term goals if you use a HELOC.
Cash is king, but cash flow is magic. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, talk to a lot of people that have accumulated their wealth through a real estate and basically retire off of their cash flow. So it's a great avenue to dive deeper into.
This is good for you right here, Vinnie. You want to take this? You want to take this all the way?
You're going back to that original slide, huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The ESPN thing is, I'm looking forward to the NFL season, and God bless the athletes and their families and everyone. And mine and Vinny's heart. We go out there, everyone out there in this economic times. It's tough. We know that, and believe it or not, sports plays a big impact in a lot of people's lives, and it's depressing to think that you may not have sports seasons or events and a lot of things going on coming up.
Well, I'm a Padres homer, so. If I'm the person that always thinks, they're going to make the playoff this year. They're going to maybe go to the World Series if everything goes right. So I'm a Padres homer.
They got a great stadium.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive deeper into it. All right. So talking about something great opportunity to buy in San Diego. So the average property off of Zillow is coming in at a little under 680. This is the median home values in San Diego County. Now, of course, the market's changing on a daily, weekly basis. Feel free to follow our weekly market updates to give you more insight into what's selling, what's active, what's actually taken off the market, and you'll be very surprised of kind of how things have played out over the last couple of months.
And they're only 10 minutes long, and we respect your time. So if you got 10 minutes to get some education and invest in yourself and your money, it's something good to think about.
Yeah. You want to jump into this one right here?
Sure. What's most important to you about the investment property? So you got to think about this. Is it the monthly cash flow you're going to get? You know, is it because you want to get basically the highest cash flow you can get back? Is it because you want the ability to basically increase the rent yearly? Is that most important about the property? Or let's see what.
Or are you just getting in with the first property, then
Yeah,
later
or are you just getting with the first property? Sorry, the font is so small on our end, it's hard. So hopefully you guys view it a little bit better. And then about the investment property, what's most important? Is it the yearly appreciation? You know,
do you want to buy? Here, I'll jump into it because I know the font is a little smaller, and you know, I mean, as you age, you know, sometimes your eyesight slowly goes away. I'm not saying that about anyone on this this show, but it does happen to the best of us. And
Wow.
Don't worry, I'll dive deeper into this. Is it yearly appreciation that you're looking for? Do you want to buy an area that has the greatest yearly appreciation, or buy an area with lower appreciation because of price? Now, this is the word that I use a lot. If you've watched our market updates, buyer seminars, investment seminars in the past, properties that are being gentrified, areas that are maybe out of date, a little bit rougher, yet you're slowly seeing a transition to nicer properties. Investors purchasing the properties one by one, fixing them up, and then reselling them. Yes, it has a negative connotation to some, and to others, it's beautifying the community. Yet, if you see in communities like that, sometimes there's going to be more of appreciation going over the last couple of years. So something to think about when you're purchasing your property.
So I got breaking news.
All right.
My vitamins just kicked in, and I think I'll be able to see the small font a little bit better.
Oh, fantastic. All right. You want to jump in there? Here we go.
Let's jump in here. So other thing important about the investment property, is it the safety of your investment? What we mean by that is it the location of the property? Is it the stability of monthly rent you're going to receive? Is it that you have long-term tenants versus short-term tenants? Each one's different. And then also the different types of tenants you can have makes a massive impact, whether you're renting to college students, business people, families. All that comes into play with the safety of the investment, because you may want to go, I want the highest amount of rent possible. Well, then you may not be renting to the safest renter. If you want to have the safest rent come in possible, you may rent to, you know, example, a family, executive style, and they're going to sign a lease for 12 months, very safe. Or it's like the location of the property, example, could be downtown San Diego in the Gaslamp district, different clientele, as opposed to someone renting a house in San Carlos. So it all comes down to what is the goal with your investment property and how safe is it, as far as what you're going to pick, what's most important to you: the rents, the location, the tenants, the maintenance. A lot of things to think about.
Is the safety of your investment, is that what's most important to you? Is it location of the property, stability of rents monthly, long-term tenants? Now, one thing with stability of rents monthly, if you're renting a property, something to really think about is maybe the property can be rented out for, let's say, $2,500. Yet to get the right tenant that's going to stay there a long period of time, maybe you rent it out for $2,350. So you're losing $150 on a monthly basis. Yet maybe that tenant now wants to stay at the property for 2 years instead of for 1 year, and that month overlap of having the property vacant, where you're losing that $2,350, or yeah, you're offsetting it from losing that $150 every month. So something to really think about when you're renting your property out. How much do you really want to push the threshold? The need and maintenance of the property. So of course, when you're purchasing your property, and you're probably aware of this when you first purchase, is when you bought the property, maybe it needed a little TLC. compared to a property that was move-in ready. And if the property need a little TLC, there's probably the ability that it's going to need some maintenance, some upkeep. Based off the tenant, that might be more upkeep and might be less. If it's fully upgraded, it'll probably be less maintenance, less headache. So something to really think about when you're purchasing that property. Type of tenants: college, business people, families. You're not discriminating, just be aware of the communities you're renting in. There's going to probably be more of a demographic for one, like if you're renting in the college area, you're probably going to have a lot of college students applying to renting your property. So just something to think about when you're renting your property out.
That's it. This next slide. This is interesting too, because a lot of you are familiar obviously with the single family homes, and then all of a sudden, you notice, oh, duplexes, and then you notice, oh, 3 or 4 units. Which property is right for you, and each one of these is different. Vinny, you want to kind of dive into the vast differences between the single family and a 3 or 4 unit?
Yeah. So more than likely, if you're getting a single family home, right, compared to a duplex or triplex, if all pricing is the same, more than likely you're probably going to have a better return on your investment. More than likely on the 3 to 4 units compared to the single family home. Just for the idea that if you're getting a property that's a single family home at the same price point as 3 to 4 units, the single family home, unless you're doing like an Airbnb, it's probably gonna be a nicer community. So the rent is not going to be probably have a higher return on investment. Yet for a 3 to 4 unit, it might be a less desirable of the area. Now there is going to be a baseline for rents, like, because the lower the rent is, the more people that you have to rent at that price point right there, being supply and demand, right? So if you have the same kind of property, 3 to 4 units, less desirable, probably a little bit higher of rents that you can squeeze out of those. So something to think about when you're in the property. Also, you're diversifying your units. So if let's say one of the properties is vacant compared to the single family home being vacant, where you're probably going to lose more of your money, your monthly rent. So something to think about when you're renting your property and looking to purchase your property.
So this next screen basically, kind of sums up what Vinny went over. Each property has its upside, each property has its downside, and you really want to look at it and go, what was the most important thing? So Vinny touched on it. It's like you got a single family house, that's 1 renter, 1 cash flow. Duplexes, 2 renters, 2 cash flow. 3 to 4 units, that's 3 to 4 sources of cash flow. The difference is when you're buying duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes, yes, there are more work, but your level of risk has gone down because if someone leaves, you still have someone else there to pay the rent. The single family house is 1 renter, 1 cash flow. So you got to think about this. Again, what's most important to you about buying the property? Is it the cash flow, appreciation, tax write-offs? You got to figure out what is most important to you. And, me and Vinny here, we're fair, so we're not going to say cash flow is king. So we threw this in here just to, keep it real.
We did say cash flow is king, didn't we?
We did, but wait, what's going to happen next when you hit the button?
Cash flow is king. Oh my gosh, see that?
See, because that's me and you. We're well diversified. That's just how we roll.
Oh, there we go. All right. So is there a wrong property to start with? Of course there is. Remember your goals here and your financial situation. Can you afford to lose a renter? Do you reserve for things to go wrong? Because they will. So really think about that, what you're looking to do, where you're looking to push it. It's talk to us and we can kind of walk you through and dive deeper into the goals that you're looking to do. So we can kind of make sure that you have a strong enough game plan that you're not, not fully affected.
You don't want to choose unwisely on the first one. And the other thing that's crucial here is, can you bootstrap and do some of the own work yourself on the property? And do you have patience to work with people? Because whether you like it or not, when you're a landlord, people are going to call, things will go wrong, and you have to be patient. And then it circles back to what Vinny just went over again with you. It's the goals of the property. Is it the cash flow, the appreciation, the equity capture you have, the tax advantages? A lot of things going on with that. Super important.
Do you have the patience to work with people? Now, if you have a fourplex, and let's say you don't like people, I mean, hopefully you have a property manager. I mean, property managers, based off of what they charge, it could vary from 6% to 8%. So figure out if you're going to be managing yourself or get a property management company involved.
Those are those touch points I just touched on real quick.
So some ideas to make sure that you're not getting the wrong property. Know the neighborhoods. Know the area you're buying in. In some communities, going from one side of the street to one side of the freeway can make a huge difference in pricing, in rent, in desirability. So really make sure that you're diving deeper into the property, into the community to know what you're getting. What is the average income?
You know,
what is the average? Okay.
I was gonna say, it's when you start looking at these next ones, the average income and the average rent paid, the higher the income and the higher the rent paid usually means you're probably renting to someone more established in a more expensive neighborhood, which in theory should make your life easier, but you still got to work with people.
Yeah, and remember the platform that I talked about earlier, Rentometer, can really help you out. Again, if you have any questions, the Rentometer is a platform that I'll use. Gives you a rough idea of what a property will rent for. What is the crime rate? Crimespot.org, I think it is.
Yeah, crimemapping.org is crimemapping.org is a very creepy website, but I'd strongly recommend everyone looking at it.
Dissect where you currently live before you dissect the property you're looking to purchase, because every area has some sort of crime that's happened, and you just want to know what kind of a balance you want to make, so you can get a rough idea of where you're currently living, so you can kind of go from there. What is the rate of appreciation? Average rent of turnover. Now, yeah, again, if you're charging a little bit less, you're probably going to get more of a long-term renter of the property. So it's really based off of you, how long and how far you're looking to push it, and what kind of in-depth analysis you're going to do on each tenant that comes into the property. Know the property. What is the age? Deferred maintenance. Okay, so the age of the property, like if you see some of the older homes, especially in like the metro area, North Park, Hillcrest, the properties that are like in the 20s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, copper piping. So if it still has that original copper piping, or kind of put together, mix mashed, just be aware it can get corroded inside of it. So when you're purchasing the property, dissect it, know what kind of piping you're getting, know what kind of electrical you're getting on the property, just so you kind of have a better reference point of if there's going to be a major item that's going to pop up in the future.
This next one, where it goes into permitted versus non-permitted work, Vinny, this is something that I know you deal with all the time, where you look at a house and you go, well, that's odd. There's a second room here, or there's a second unit. You need to really look closely to see if the work was done permitted or not permitted, because that does make a difference to the quality of the work done. So that's something very important you want to see, especially like Vinny mentioned in areas North Park, South Park, even in Claremont. You have a lot of work of second units, or rooms, or garages turned into units that was done non-permitted. So you really want to take that into consideration for safety factors, and for long-term financing, and for sellability later.
Yeah, you really want to look into it, because on the purchase side, if let's say it's permitted or not, I mean unpermitted or permits unknown, you're probably gonna get a little better of a value on the purchase of it. Just be aware if there is any issues that come about later on, that's where you can pay on it. So just be aware of that. Dive deeper into what you're looking to purchase. Just like when you're looking to purchase stocks, you really want to look at, okay, what kind of risk you want to take on this purchase of stock. I mean, are you more risk averse? Are you not? Or you want to buy a blue chip or not a blue chip? So really dive deeper into what you're looking to get out of this property.
I like this next one. A lot of people don't think about this, but if you've been a renter before and you've gone, every time I drive home, I can't find parking, are you willing to pay more rent at that place to have crappy parking or less rent? So parking is key, and also accessibility. If your property is in a great accessible area where it's easy to get in, get out of, you can charge more money for rent versus the person whose property you have to drive through 20 stoplights to get to, and then you have bad parking.
All right, so, so we just got this question. I'm going to show it. I typed it up. So we got this direct message to us. What are some tough lessons we have learned in renting properties out?
I learned that parking one myself because I had a rental property for years in PB and I had no parking at it. And every single tenant complained about the parking all the time. And then eventually I got offered to buy a parking spot for $20,000. And I'm sorry, but a parking spot is not worth 20 grand to me. Even though the tenants always complained about parking, the unit was in PB. It was on-street parking. And basically it was first come, first serve. So that parking situation, that's a major lesson learned, for me right there. Same with the deferred maintenance. I learned about that to another house in Claremont that I have with cast iron pipes. So those are two right away that really kind of were. The cast iron fixing the pipes was very expensive.
I mean, one of the things that I've been relayed by a lot of the clients and investor clients is the idea of the tenant. I mean, really taking the time to really dive deeper into that tenant and know who they are, what they're going to do. I mean, the peace of mind of not getting a call every 2 days is huge. I mean, there's been some clients where it's like you're getting a call every couple of days. Oh, okay, well this went up, the door's not shutting correctly, or this, and then you have other ones that they take care of it, or hey, it's okay if I just take care of it and I can take it off of the monthly rent. So I think diving deeper into the tenant you're going to have is a huge benefit later on. It can save you a lot of time.
And one more tough lesson, I'll mention this because a lot of you out there think, I'm going to rent to Section 8 renters. I did that in 2004 at a 4-unit place I owned. The worst experience I've ever had in my life. Yes, the checks came in every month from the government, but the people absolutely destroyed my place, and getting them out was a living hell. So for those of you who want to buy your first investment property and then do Section 8 renting, you may want to really think about that. When that question was asked about a tough lesson, I learned that in 2004. That was one of the most worst experiences I ever had because could not get rid of the tenants, utterly destroyed, but I got my money each month. Not worth it.
And for people curious about what is Section 8, Section 8 is government assisted housing. So you'll get a paycheck from, I mean, basically some of the government will pay for, I don't know, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%. I think there's up to 100, right?
Yeah, there's up to 100%. It's yeah. I don't know how that works, but at that time, my place was in North Park, and in 2004, for those of you who don't know San Diego that well, North Park was not a nice place. Yeah. It was, I mean, it was a very bad neighborhood. So.
Yeah, and so there's Section 8 housing, San Diego Housing Commission. If you go onto their website, you'll be able to see if you're looking to rent for Section 8 or you're looking to apply for that. San Diego Housing Commission should be able to help you out on their platform. Zoning, legal upside units, average cost per square foot. What improvements can you do to bring in more rent? Now, the simple answers to that is upgrade. So if it's a property that needs a little work, upgrading the property, making it that shiny object is going to make it more appealing for a higher rent on the property. Yes, if let's say you put solar panels on the property over time, you can start charging the tenants, and it's going to offset what you'd pay basically your electric company. So small things like that you can do, and they're going to slowly start improving your return on investment. But for the simple answer is going to be upgrades like granite countertops, flooring, things like that.
The other thing that's very crucial when you're working with your realtor is that zoning aspect. If your agent is, Vinny's your agent, high caliber agent, he looks up a property and he comes back to you and goes, hey, this property is a 2-unit property right now, but it's zoned R3. So you legally can build a 3rd unit legally. That's instant value added to your property. And most agents are not going to catch that, because unless you're able to read title reports and understand the real value of zoning, you can lose a lot of money. That's how you see all of a sudden in a neighborhood, there used to be a single family house and it's torn down and there's 4 units because it was zoned R4. And now you basically have 4 things of cash flow. So that zoning thing is important. It's really crucial to have a smart agent to work through that stuff with you.
I mean, even too, you might own a property now and have the ability to add an ADU to the property. So you're adding a quote unquote granny flat to the property and rent that out, slowly build some returns, some cash flow. And then after you're doing that for a little while, use that income to purchase your next property. So that could be an avenue now. So if you're looking for assistance on kind of building a granny flat and ADU, feel free to reach out to myself or David, and we can get you in contact with some people. Learn about mortgages, and great CPAs can help you with tax benefits. CPAs. Stuff that we're saying here just kind of give you a brief overview of the topic, of the ideas, but these are things that you want to dive deeper in with your CPA. And if you don't have a CPA, feel free to reach out to. What'd you say?
I was going to say, this is our Investor 101. So this is the beginner investor class. And later on, we'll do a more advanced class that goes over other things that are a different level. But just getting yourself into the game, the CPA is super important.
And you know what? Sometimes too, if you're in the early stages of too, and you want to talk to us, and you maybe don't have the funds, the money to put towards that next purchase, I mean, talk to us. We can set you up with a financial advisor if that's something that you're looking to put into play in a year from now and 2 years from now. So there's never you can start today, tomorrow, right? If you're looking to purchase in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. I mean, I know for myself and for David, we've had clients that we've worked with for years to get them to where they wanted to get to. So it does take time if you're not there yet.
Totally.
So duplexes will have a higher rate for loans than single family. When you buy an investor down payment, is usually about 25%. Now there is the ability for vacation properties that can go down to 20%. I think it's like 100 miles from your primary residence, like that.
It is 100 miles, or you can, the thing we didn't mention earlier is some of you may look at it and go, hey, I'm looking ready to buy my first home, but I'm going to make a smarter decision and buy an investment first. That's you buying a duplex or a triplex, and then you can do a lesser down payment than 25%. So I know we didn't have a slide in here about that, Vinny. I just thought about that. But for those people out there who are thinking about, hey, I want to buy a duplex and live in 1 unit, that doesn't mean you need 25% down. That means you probably need 15% down. And in some cases, depending on the price of the property, you can buy it with 5% down. So there are other avenues to get yourself into investment properties with lesser money down. But this 25% down Vinny mentioned is strictly if you're buying the property, you're never going to live in it, and it's going to be a 2-unit, a 3-unit, 4-unit. Even for just single family residents, 25% is typically the golden percent of money down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great avenue. I mean, I've had clients that buy duplexes, I mean, and they live in one of the units, smaller unit, and they rent the other one out. If you're able to do that, look at the rough numbers of it. Let's say hypothetically, you're buying, let's say, a duplex at $600,000. Hypothetically, your rough monthly payments are going to put you about somewhere around, I don't know, $3,400, $3,300, $3,500, somewhere in that kind of ballpark, right? And if you can get one of the properties rented out for, I mean, let's say $2,000, that puts you for your monthly payment in your pocket about $1,300, $1,500, $1,400, somewhere around there. So it really gives you a great avenue to just get the ball rolling and buy more of an asset.
CPA, bring the CPA up there too. It's I know we're sounding like we're going over the CPA, pushing it a lot, but the CPA is important, and then also the more equity you have in your property means you get lower interest rates.
So great CPAs can help you avoid recapture taxes. They can help you out with the exchange properties and want to save money, do a 1031. So a 1031 exchange, again, talk to a CPA. But if you already have a property, now if you're watching this and you already have a property, this is buying a property, investment property 101. So it might not be, some of the stuff might be redundant to you. Yet if you already have an investment property and you're trying to reaffirm some of the ideas you already had, well, thanks for watching. And a 1031 exchange will allow you the opportunity to buy a property for a lesser value. I mean, for a higher value. So if, let's say you sell a property at 500,000, now you're going to buy your next property at 600,000. You can roll over your capital gains to that new property. But talk to a CPA again. Talk to a CPA, and talk to a CPA.
Did you say talk to a CPA?
Yes, I did. Make friends with an honest contractor. Now that is huge.
Huge. Okay. Honest is huge.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the same thing, I make the joke all the time about the idea of if I went to a car dealership or a mechanic and they told me the gigawatt is broken, I mean, I would probably be all one.
Is the gigawatt broken again? That's what they always tell me on my truck. The gigawatt and the flux capacitor is broken.
So really, when you're looking to own a property, make sure that you have an honest contractor or a handyman to give you good insight. If you want to do it yourself and you have the availability to yourself, I mean, on YouTube, there's so many different platforms that you can kind of watch and look at it. And a lot of the stuff, when you break it down to the to step by step, it's fairly straightforward to do. So it's up to you how you want to do it, but really dive deeper in that. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, please share. We're looking to grow our platform.
You know that thing with the honest contractor is you work with a licensed and bonded insured contractor. And if you need help with that, or you want possibly me or Vinnie to look into that licensing requirement of that contractor, we both have resources that we can actually check that. And you can find out if that contractor has had claims against them. That's important, because if your contractor comes to you and tells you, he or she is the best person, once again, he or she in your contractor, not just a male contractor, there's both. But if they've had a bunch of complaints filed against them, probably not the best person you want to hire to invest in your house on it when you're looking to make a good ROI here. And what a perfect transition, Vinnie. Perfect.
Talking about ROI, so you buy a property, cash and cash return. Let's say 700,000, down payment 25,000, annual cash from rent about 3,500. So that puts you at a 24% return.
That's huge, actually. Like these formulas we put right here, if you want these sent to you, these are great formulas that when you really look at stuff, is the cash on cash is a great example to go, should I invest my cash in the stock market or in real estate? Well, they're each different return on assets, but you also have to realize the real estate is a hard asset and cash flow is king or queen. And if you're making a 24% return on your money that you put down, that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you're probably, more than likely you're looking for something around maybe 10% or something like that.
Oh, yeah. And some people, they look at it and they get 6 and they're like, perfect, I got 6%. Even 6% rate of return on your money is actually really good.
All right, so net operating income. So 42,000 income minus 12,000 expenses. You see, we're making it 2,500 to you. Payback period, initial cash investment, annual cash flow. Scale your money back. Go ahead.
I was going to say, these formulas, so you look at this, the middle one, net operating income, this is super important because you look at it and you can go, okay, what's my annual income? How much rent will I collect? So you're buying your first investment property and you go, how much rent do I collect? Then you go, oh, how much will I have to spend to operate this house? And you look at that. That's the income you have left over. And will that income be able to cover all your debt on the mortgage payment and give you a profit? That's a really important one.
Yeah, again, if you want to take a look at these, if you need these breakdowns, feel free to reach out to myself or David, and we can get this to you.
Ooh, it's a big one. You want to hit that one, Vinny?
Learn California renters laws. In California, renters are very protected, and just be aware of that. Have everything in writing. I mean, if you ever have time and you want to hear some horror stories, I can definitely talk to you about that. Yes, renter laws, understand them, and be aware. Have everything in writing. Only hire a highly qualified realtor to help you and a lender. I mean, this is something that we will talk more about in our first-time home buyer seminars. Yet, Google the person you're going to work with, understand, look at the reviews. If they don't have reviews, you have to ask yourself, what are they hiding? For the most part, just Google anyone that you're going to work with. Property managers, do you need one? Learn the cost. Again, around 6 to 8% based off the property manager you're going to use. You can get someone to help you out and get the property rented, and then you manage the property. And based off of the maintenance on the property, based off of the tenant you're going to get at the property, I mean, sometimes it's pretty relaxed, and you're not going to be getting those calls all the time, and you get to save that 6 to 8%. Other times you want the peace of mind, so you get the property manager. So really dive deeper into who you plan to use and what that entails.
This next one, the only thing you can plan on is plan on things going wrong, because unfortunately, that's the way life works. And if you don't have reserves in the bank and you can't bootstrap and do the work yourself, make sure you have extra cash, because things will go wrong at the house at the worst time while you're at your family barbecue on Sunday and your renter calls to tell you that the ankle stop in the toilet broke and it's flooding the house. Things go wrong at the worst time. So just plan ahead, have extra money put on the side, and have great insurance, not cheap insurance. When you buy cheap stuff, you get what you pay for. You're not going to look, as an example, if you find a realtor who's willing to give you everything for nothing and they're the cheapest person on the block, that means that the value is not there and you're going to get what you pay for, and you really want the return on your investment in this house.
Yeah, so yeah, dive deeper into the insurance you're going to use, the realtor, the lender you're going to use. Dive deeper into all those different individuals. Things will go wrong all the time. You just want to make sure that you're protected. A home warranty plan is another avenue that can really protect you. I mean, based off of the plan that you're using, about $500 a year. Yet it really protects you on some items that can go wrong in your property. I know for some of my clients, on every closed deal, we'll get the home warranty involved for the first year, and hopefully with your transaction, you're getting the first year taken care of. But if it's in the plan, the AC unit, the refrigerator, the washer and dryer, things like that, if there's any issues, you pay a one-time fee for them to go out there, that deductible, and the rest is taken care of. So it just gives you a little peace of mind if you're managing the property yourself. Do you want to jump in this one, David?
Yeah, so let's look at this. So listen, you really got to look at this and go, hey, we're playing the long game. You got to be prepared to take some risks, but they need to be calculated. Cash flow is either king or queen, however you want to look at it. You need to make sure that your building's 3 or 4 unit, 2 unit house is operating with cash coming in and not always bleeding cash out so you can sleep at night. And the other thing you may want to think about, buy rental units, live in one for a while, fix it up. Always look for ways to increase value and increase rents, because the more that you increase the value and increase the rents, the easier you will have, with your investment. I'm going to press that button.
There we go.
There.
Another thing to think about too is sometimes if you're planning for retirement, sometimes it's better to take maybe that extra money that you're making on the rental and put it towards the principal. So you're paying off the loan earlier than later. So when that time does come about for your retirement, you have the properties fully paid off, and now that rental income that's coming to the property is basically your retirement. So it's just something to think about. Really understand your game plan of what you're looking to do.
You also, if the lender you're working with is smart, they can come back to you and tell you, hey, if you pay an extra $200 per month on this property, you're shaving off, example, 6 years of time. Well, that's 6 more years that you're closer to paying off the house and having full cash flow property. So you're investing in yourself when you pay extra money towards principal. You want it? That last one, no one, we didn't touch that, but don't screw over your tenants, people. No one likes being screwed over. Don't do that.
Don't be a slumlord. Now that you have the basis to go look at properties, what do? Hire a great agent and a great lender. Understand the areas. Look at the rents, improvements. Use the formulas. Know your goals. And start the process of your future dream, your future retirement. Start the process now.
That's if you want to go, oh, the way.
So if you guys have any
that's the last time.
If you guys have any questions about what we went over, feel free to reach out. Our information is here below. Any last pieces of wisdom you want to throw out there, David?
You know, I know that we went through this kind of fast, and at the same time, it's like we're both here to help answer questions. We are not pushy salespeople. We are long-term advisors to help you out. So you got a real estate question, reach out to Vinnie. He's here to help long-term. I'm here to help with financing long-term. We're here realizing that what you start today, you may not do for a year or 2 years, because sometimes it takes a long time to have the right game plan. And Vinnie, I mean, how long does it take to find the right property? I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, does it?
Yeah, really based off what you're looking for. I mean, it's really the biggest thing. If you've owned a property before, you can probably usually look past the shiny object and look at what's possible with that property. And if you have that ability to do that, it's going to be a little bit easier than it's going to be if you're just looking for that shiny object. Yet, if you're looking for that shiny object, don't worry. We can help you with that too. A lot of people are looking for that shiny object.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it, Vinnie. I think we wrapped it up pretty quick. You guys got a great Memorial Day weekend. You know, me and Vinnie, both huge military supporters. We thank everybody for their service. Freedom is not free. You know, take this time to be with your family, be safe, be strong, be positive, corners turned, and it's not going to be a housing meltdown. For those of you who still think it's going to be like 2008, it's not coming.
All right, guys. And also, too, if you're watching our market updates, we're not going to be doing a market update this Monday because of Memorial Day. We are going to come back next Friday. So feel free to join us. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,